Well, I'm not going to. But let's go back to current. It's too low. So you change that lower bound until you get this cell completely black. That doesn't mean that cell actually is blank. I have conditional formatting. If using this formula, C12 is less than C11, right here, or if this condition, either of these conditions are not correct, it has a black background, otherwise it has a white background. The font is black, so it shows. So if this was, okay, it's kind of a clever use of conditional formatting. And if you want to see what it is, manage rules. It says format cells that contain this. If cell value is equal to 0, make it black, okay? And the cell value is equal to 0 as long as these things average if lower and average if upper is on both sides of the market average, or average implied by the market. But currently, there is only 3% chance that there's going to be an increase. Of course, current market price is 94.67. Not that I had to calculate it, but calculator is there. We might as well use it. Market attaches exactly 0 chance of an increase in rate, right? We could also look at the October contract. There is no meeting in October. So if there is no meeting, make that one a red light. Enter the meeting date as the 1st of the month. But there is no 101st month. That means all 31 days of October is going to be based on the new rate. Remember, rates are going to change in September. So market attaches only 2% chance that something is going to happen. So using September contract, 0, October contract, 2, take the average 1%. Not that it matters that much. All right, so we kind of know what market is expecting on Wednesday. It is extremely rare that Fed surprises the Fed funds futures market. One of the reasons they don't, not because they determine their policy based on what market things should happen, they actually lead the market to where they want using their talk. Fed chair goes ahead and gives a speech. Individual board members and FOMC members give speeches. And they kind of lead the market to where they think it should happen. Unless something drastic happens over the next 2 days, I would be extremely surprised if Fed does any surprise. Because that's not how they roll. Because anytime Fed does surprises like that, it creates volatility in these markets. And volatility is not a friend of a thriving economy, both in monetary markets and goods markets. Now, this is only 2 days before the meeting, so Fed didn't necessarily lead the market to a certain course of action for their next meeting or next meeting, which is in November 1st. If you don't know, you can always do a search, FOMC meetings. The November meeting is on November 1. Let's assume that Fed is not going to do anything this Wednesday. If they don't, we should expect the FFR to remain where it is, 533. And meeting date is 11/1, but they have a meeting, okay? So on the first day, it's going to be based on the old rate. The 29 days after that, it's going to be based on the new rate, if there's a change. Let's look at the contract, November contract, 94.59. Okay, my control cell is still black. So assuming that either 0 or 25 is proper, all I have to do is boom. So a market attaches 1 in 3 chances that if Fed doesn't increase the rates this Wednesday, it could increase it on November 1st. But that's not very high. Similarly, let's look at the meeting after that, 94.565. That's on, where is it? December 13. They do meet. Again, I'm going to assume that nothing has happened. Or let's actually do this, because it's going to go to 558 if something happens, either September meeting or November meeting. Let's look at the price, 94.59. Yeah, it says too high. It basically says there is no chance that there's going to be 2 moves between September, November, and December meetings. Or go back to 533. Only 1 move is proper. And all I have to do is boom. So a market is attaching a higher probability that if Fed has not increased the rates in November and what you want to call September and November meetings, they expect 55% of the market participants, loosely speaking, expect a rate hike in December. All right? Let's look at the meeting after that. There is a meeting in January, but it's the last day. So let's look at the March meeting. March 20th. 3/20/2024. If you're not using the current years, you have to enter the years when you're entering a date. Let's look at the futures contract, 94.58.5. So everything is kosher. Boom. Let's understand what this means. We assume that there's not going to be any rate increase between September, November, December, and January meetings. If that is the case, market says it's going to be at least, market says it's almost certain that the rate would increase in March. Alternative way to think about this is market is putting almost 100% probable that there's going to be a 1/4 point rate hike in the next 4 meetings. September, November, the next 5 meetings, December and March. We could use other even further months, but I don't have too much confidence because all of this is based on current information. There's going to be a lot of new data that comes. So, and you could also see it in the market volumes. There's actually a lot of volume in April, because there's no meeting in April. So we could also look at the number associated with the April. $94.61.5. That says only 22%. As you can see, they're kind of conflicting. So I wouldn't necessarily use too much ahead of time, because the simple model we're using here is there's not going to be any decision until that meeting, which is kind of iffy. Or you could do this. If it has been 5:58 until then, yeah. There's a 22% that they will remain put if there has been an increase. Okay, I'll stop here. We're going to make use of this later on during the semester, but since half the class was not here, I figured I might as well talk about it today. And those of you who are not here, they can watch the video. On Wednesday, we're going to go back to exchange rate futures and use them to manage the exchange rate risk of hypothetical Forex portfolios, all right, or positions. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.